Over the last 20 years, I lost my parents, my grandmother in a car accident on Christmas Eve. Been laid off multiple times, lost everything, had to move my entire family in with friends, then with family. I've had businesses fail. Ministries I've been a part of fall apart. My wife and I think we've moved maybe 30 times now. But despite all of that, the last 2 years, I think, have been the absolute hardest in my entire life. It all started just a little bit before COVID. The company I was working for, I had become the chief marketing officer. They were growing quickly, and it seemed like life was finally going to start leveling off. And maybe, maybe this was the moment. Maybe this is what all of the turmoil and consternation and things that we had been through, the faith building and everything else, it felt like finally maybe this is what it was all building up to. And then, right around the end of COVID, I got the call that the company was going to be out of business in the next 60 days, and we had to figure out what we were going to do. Now, my wife and I had just gotten pregnant, and so obviously the timing was not great. And we lived in Rhode Island at the time, which all of our family lived here in Texas. And so, we were kind of in a tough spot because we had 60 days to make a massively life-changing decision, whether to stay in Rhode Island and try to find another job there, or to move back to Texas where we at least have some form of infrastructure, and the cost of living is a little bit lower. So, hopefully we'll at least have a little bit more runway to try and figure things out. And so ultimately, we decided to move back. We prayed on it, and that's what we felt like the Lord was leading us to do. And so we moved back. We had just enough money to actually get here, but not enough money to pay for bills or rent or anything once we arrived. We had no job, so no clue whether we were even going to be able to afford our life after we moved. We had a miscarriage on the way down, like while we were in the moving process. And about the only thing we had that was even slightly hopeful was I had taken a small equity stake in a company here, and there wasn't enough income in the company to pay me anything, but it seemed like there might be an opportunity to grow there. I'd been trying to raise money for it, and so there were a couple of things that were building that seemed like they might come together, but it was all kind of just a big leap of faith. Ultimately, things worked out. I ended up being able to raise the money, and it seemed like, once again, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe this is the Lord moving. Maybe we just a little detour here, but we're getting our life is going to get back on track, and everything's going to start to sort itself out. And then we ended up getting pregnant again, and it was a really hard pregnancy. And then we ended up in the NICU for 2 weeks whenever we had our daughter. And then we finally get out of the NICU, we get home, and we've only been there for 9 months. And we get a call from the people we're renting from to tell us that we have 60 days to move because they're moving back into the house. Now, this was in the middle of post-COVID real estate, which was insane. So we would literally go to try and find a rental, and there'd be 45 applications ahead of us on the day that the thing was posted. And this went on for the entire 60 days, all the way up until the house that we finally ended up in. It was legitimately a miracle. We only ended up getting it because because of the grace of God, to be completely honest. But there was just a wild set of circumstances that essentially it wasn't on the market. It wasn't supposed to be on the market, and somehow someone posted it before it was ready, and we found it. And even then, even through this wild set of circumstances where nobody else should have been able to apply, there was still one person ahead of us. But we made it. We get into this house, and it seems again like, okay, maybe just another detour, right? Like it's all going to be good. We're finally building towards something. And we launched a second company, and everything seemed like we were again headed in the right direction. Life was starting to build. We had a church community that we were starting to engage with, and everything in life seemed like maybe we were finally going to get to that, over that hump, to whatever the thing is that we were supposed to be doing. And then I ended up having a falling out with my business partner. And then the market that we were in completely fell out. I mean, it was a freak occurrence. Like, we're talking a once in the entire history of the United States, the real estate market, or the portion of the real estate market that we were in, it went through something that has never occurred in the history of the country, to put it into perspective. That's how insane it was. And so that ended up wiping out the company, and I had to shut it down. And we more or less lost everything again, had to move everything into storage, got evicted. I mean, it was really bad. And in the middle of that entire situation, my cat, who's been with me for oh man, 16 years now, I think. Basically my absolute, like, my battle buddy. He's been the one that's been with me through everything. He got really sick in the middle of that whole entire process where the company was being shut down and the eviction was happening, just all this stuff was happening, and then he got really sick right in the middle of it, and he died. But even in the middle of all of that, the Lord provided again, and He gave us a safe landing somewhere. It was a wild set of circumstances I don't have time to get into right now. But just through just an incredible array of things happening, we ended up landing in a safe place. And that brings us to today, sitting here making this video in the place that the Lord provided for us. Still not out of the fallout of everything that happened, but at least in a place where, I can sit down and I can make a video like this. Now, here's why I'm sharing this. I just got done making 2 videos. I'm about to post them. I was about to walk in the door, and the Lord said, I want you to stop and make one more video about hope. There's a scripture that says that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and that perseverance produces character, and that character produces hope. And I want to tell you that the testing of your faith is so hard. Sometimes it is so unbelievably painful. I want nothing more than to get off the ride, give my ticket back, and say, I'm done, I'm going home. As stupid as it sounds, when my cat died, that was the one that really broke me. That one took me out almost more than my parents. Not because he was more important than my parents, but I think it was just the timing and the circumstances. My whole life was falling apart, and to have to watch him get sick and then go through that whole process, and then having to make the decision that, I have to put him down in the middle of all of the other decisions that I was having to make at that point. It was like, it was just it was the last one. It was the one that one just almost took my soul. But there is in me a hope that the last 20 years of the testing of my faith, the trials and the tribulations that I have been through, the things that I have endured over the last 20 years, all of those trials, all of that testing has produced in me a character and now a hope that even in that darkest moment, when I sat in my shower crying almost every single day, when I didn't know how I was going to face the day, because I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to take my family, where are we going to live, while still not even having the ability to bury my cat because I couldn't afford to get him cremated. I mean, just so many things, you guys. I can't even begin to. Just so many things I don't even want to get into. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that there is a hope in here that has allowed me to continue even despite all of those things. I cannot express to you how important hope is, because when hope is gone, there is nothing else. You can lose everything in your life. You can lose everything. But if you lose hope, that's the end of the road. There is nothing left. Hopelessness is the killer. The trial is not the killer. Hopelessness. I know, because I've looked into that black hole. I've looked into that black hole when my parents died, and had to ask the question, how do I reconcile this? How do I go forward knowing I don't have a family anymore? Sitting at the vet when my cat was dying, and realizing I'm about to have to make the decision to end his life, and there's nothing I can do about it. Do you know how helpless you feel in that moment? But you can't let helplessness turn into hopelessness, because it will kill you. So whatever you're going through today, wherever you are right now, I just want to encourage you that at the other side of the trial, at the other side of the testing, if you will just hold on to Christ, there is a hope that gets in you, And you are going to need that hope because this world is hard. There is so much difficulty in life. You don't know what's coming. And if you don't have that hope, one day you will meet a difficulty and it's going to be too much. It's going to be more than you can handle on your own. And you need that hope rooted in you. You need that hope as a foundation so that when you get to the very, very bottom of yourself and there is nothing left of you, there is nothing left to give, there is something that isn't yours. There is a hope that was planted in you that is secure, that is stable, that will carry you through those dark moments.